Chosen One. Freeze where you are. This is not a random video sliding across your screen. This is a divine interruption. A holy summons. A message heaven allowed to reach you before the enemy could drown it beneath noise, doubt, and distraction. Do not rush past this moment, because something in your spirit already knows there is a verdict being released over your life right now. For too long, you carried pain in silence. You kept choosing mercy when revenge would have been easier. You kept your heart clean while betrayal tried to make you bitter. And that one hidden decision, the one nobody saw, the one you made when your soul was exhausted and your tears had no witness, shook the unseen realm harder than you realize. Heaven did not ignore it. The angels did not overlook it. The throne recorded it. Now the atmosphere around you is changing because the case concerning your destiny has been opened, reviewed, and settled. The same forces that tried to bury your light are now watching their own traps collapse beneath their feet. They thought your silence meant defeat. They thought your kindness meant weakness. They thought the weight you carried would finally crush you. But they misread you completely. Your silence was not surrender. It was spiritual discipline. Your restraint was not fear. It was power under divine control. And because you refused to become what wounded you, heaven has issued an accelerated release over your life. Delays are breaking. Locked doors are being forced open. Stolen years are being restored with a speed that will make people wonder how everything shifted so suddenly. What was supposed to take years can now begin unfolding in days, because the hand of God has stepped into the timeline and canceled the assignment of stagnation. So listen closely until the end, because this is the part your enemy does not want you to understand. The attack did not destroy your destiny. It exposed your rank. The pressure did not bury you. It revealed the oil on your life. And now, as a sign of faith, write 777 inches the comments and declare that you are ready for divine protection, restoration, and breakthrough. Stay until the final second, because what heaven reveals next will confirm why your life is about to turn in a way nobody can stop. Heaven's silence right now is not indifference, but an absolute reverence for a rare moment when a human soul like yours transcends all laws of the flesh to touch the frequency of the divine. Absolutely do not take your eyes off the screen for even a second, because the secret about to be revealed is the reason why all the dark forces that once tried to besiege the life of the Chosen One are now retreating in shock and trembling. Prepare your mind to face a earth-shattering truth. You recently did something without even realizing its divine weight. It wasn't a calculated plan or a performance meant to impress the world, but it flowed naturally from the deepest essence of a soul forged through the endless traumas of the Chosen One. Recall that moment when darkness surrounded you and betrayal pierced your soul, when all human reason and logic gave you the right to be outraged, the right to retaliate with bitterness, or at least the right to expose the rottenness of the one who harmed you. That was when your mind screamed for worldly justice, when all your old wounds resurfaced, wanting to drown the Chosen One in hatred. But right at that fragile boundary between light and darkness, you chose an unimaginable path, Grace. The Chosen One chose silence when you could have uttered the most cruel words to shatter your opponent. And you chose to cover the failures of others instead of using them as a stepping stone to prove you were right. You must listen to the final seconds, because what happened in the spiritual dimensions at that exact moment is the reason all heavenly entities had to look down at you in awe. Your guardian angel, who has accompanied and recorded every up and down in the Chosen One's journey, could not process this file through normal protocols, but had to immediately flag it with a red flag to send your case straight to the highest level in the heavenly hierarchy. Listen closely to the severity of this matter. When this report reached Archangel Michael, the commander-in-chief of the Army of Light who coordinates cosmic battles of epic proportions, he had to order everything to stop. A divine general had to pause the rotation of galaxies just to observe a single soul on Earth, which is you. The note attached to the Chosen One's file left Michael stunned with just one phrase: this soul had just executed enemy-level forgiveness right in the midst of a direct attack. In spiritual physics, this is an extremely rare phenomenon. Because most humans are merely mirrors reflecting their surroundings when treated poorly. They react poorly. And when encountering darkness, they become a part of the darkness. But you proved that your attitude is completely uncontrolled by circumstances, and the essence of the chosen one remains immutable regardless of life's fiercest storms. Absolutely do not leave right now, because the next part will reveal a counterattack strategy that heaven has activated exclusively for you. Something the enemy never saw coming. Your choice of grace dealt a fatal blow to the structure of darkness, because the chosen one used the very negative energy they directed at you and turned it into a high-level energy launchpad, causing all enemy attacks to bounce back to their source with multiplied intensity. This event has re-established your position in the entire universe, and Michael requested a special council to discuss granting the Chosen One access to supreme resources, things that were never allowed to be touched before. Today, your title has officially been recorded as an authenticated warrior of light because you did the right thing even when you saw no evidence or reward. The protection around the Chosen One right now is absolute, and the acceleration is irreversible. Are you truly ready to see what Michael has recorded about your future in the next section? Heaven's silence right now is not merely contemplation. It is a profound strategic analysis of what you just accomplished in the spiritual realm. Absolutely do not take your eyes off the screen, because the secret of how the darkness was completely defeated is about to be exposed. And this is the key to holding supreme power in all upcoming confrontations. Listen very carefully, and you must listen to the final seconds, because any distraction right now will cause you to miss the chance to understand the invisible shield currently wrapping around you. The truth is that every attack directed at you recently had a single strategic goal: to destroy your soul's frequency and drag you down to operate at the lowly level of bitterness and hatred. The enemy knows very well that when a soul repays evil with evil and answers betrayal with revenge, that soul unintentionally steps out of heaven's zone of protection and sets foot on territory where darkness has full dominion. They orchestrated the most painful situations and pushed the most toxic people in front of you just to wait for an angry reaction or a collapse into resentment, thereby legitimizing their possession and control over your destiny. But right at the critical moment, when all the pressure reached its peak, you performed an act that caused the entire structure of darkness to tremble and disintegrate immediately. By choosing grace and enemy-level forgiveness, you didn't just perform a moral gesture. In reality, you unleashed the most devastating strategic counterattack into the kingdom of darkness. In spiritual physics, when negative energy is directed at an entity operating at the frequency of love and forgiveness, that energy does not disappear. It bounces back to its source with an intensity amplified many times over. This is exactly why, in recent weeks, you may have noticed that those who intentionally tried to harm you suddenly encountered unsolvable troubles, and plans plotted against you suddenly turned around to harm the mastermind themselves. That is no coincidence. It is the result of you using the enemy's own weapons to defeat them in the very battle they thought they had already won. Archangel Michael watched this moment with absolute respect because he realized you weren't using trained techniques or conditioned reflexes. That action came from the core essence of a true warrior of light. He did not expect that a soul bearing the weight of isolation and pain like you could access this supreme power much earlier than all projected timelines for development. It was this breakthrough that led Michael to request a special council to announce that you are indeed the chosen one who has passed all character tests and is ready to receive a special privilege that very few souls on earth attain. Pay the utmost attention, because right after this is how you officially establish your dominion over all adversity and permanently seal this victory into the heavenly books. Do not leave, because the revelation of your new title is about to be announced. And it will come with a complete shift in how cosmic resources flow into your life. To affirm your warrior status and declare to the entire spiritual realm that darkness no longer holds any power over your destiny, perform a single act of affirmation. Write the phrase, "I am victorious," in the comments. This is a declaration of power to activate the supreme shield and officially step into the corridors of eternal glory, where all delays are obliterated. Can you feel the surge of power rising strongly within your chest right at this moment? That is the sign that the soul of the chosen one is ready for the greatest breakthrough ever. Do not miss a single second of what comes next, because the secret about the decree of acceleration and how the doors that have been locked for years are about to be broken open simultaneously is waiting for you in the next part of this revelation. But have you ever truly wondered why in recent weeks, when everything around you seemed to be collapsing and your enemies were holding their breath waiting for a desperate cry from you, an eerily terrifying calmness rose within the chosen one? Absolutely do not take your eyes off the screen for even a split second, because the answer to that strange peace is the key to understanding a supreme law that is operating to turn your entire life around right at this moment. The brutal truth is that every attack, every betrayal, or criticism aimed at you recently was never a coincidence. It was an organized campaign by the kingdom of darkness with a single strategic goal to lower the vibrational frequency of your soul down to their level so they could have legal dominion over the destiny of the chosen one. The dark entities know very well that they cannot touch you as long as you operate in the light of grace. So they use the most vicious tactics to drag you into the land of bitterness, anger, and resentment. Never ignore this warning, because the enemy is lurking right here. They want you to get distracted, so you miss the secret of the greatest counterattack you just executed. This is the moment the chosen one actualized the miraculous truth taught in the Bible. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 1:2-1. You must listen to the final seconds to fully comprehend the mechanics of spiritual physics operating more intensely and dramatically than ever within your very being. When the chosen one was backed into a corner, when all the pain urged you to retaliate with equal brutality, your choice of grace instead of hatred created the most devastating strategic counterattack that completely paralyzed the entire kingdom of darkness. Imagine all the negative energy they directed at you as a violent storm. But instead of hitting a rigid wall to destroy, it collided with the forgiveness and pure light within the soul of the chosen one. In spiritual physics, when a stream of negative energy collides with the frequency of forgiveness, it does not disappear, but bounces back to the source with an intensity amplified many times over, because you maintained your pure essence. You inadvertently used the enemy's own energy to defeat them without needing any fleshly weapons. This action of yours is the activation of the supreme power mentioned in the Bible. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Proverbs 2:1-22. That is not a vengeful punishment, but a strategic blow to the very nature of darkness. Urgent warning, you absolutely must not leave at this moment, because a supreme verdict from the throne is about to be handed down to permanently change the status of the chosen one. That purity is the ultimate weapon that made Archangel Michael pause in admiration, because you achieved what very few souls can do when besieged by trauma. Every attack aimed at you has now been completely reversed, turning into an energy launchpad that propels the chosen one to a higher tier of glory, forcing those who tried to harm you to face the very destruction they sowed. Can you feel the powerful vibration spreading throughout your body? That is the sign that the final chains of delay are being irreversibly broken, right as you hear these words. Absolutely do not look away, because we are about to enter the most momentous occasion, where all the powers of heaven will execute the decree of restoration for the chosen one. Michael is standing tall beside you to protect this decree, and the darkness no longer has any loopholes to touch your life. You must keep listening, because what follows is the most astonishing part about the verdict from the throne, the thing that will break all laws of time to bring the greatest blessings right before your eyes in the blink of an eye. Are you truly ready to receive the final verdict, reserved exclusively for a warrior of light? Because the most historic moment of the chosen one is happening right now, and you are not allowed to miss it at any cost. Focus your entire mind, because if you have persevered in watching up to this point, your soul is undoubtedly operating at a very high frequency, and you absolutely must not skip the upcoming revelations. This is the moment the veil separating physical reality and the spiritual realm is torn away to reveal the true reason why the entire kingdom of heaven had to tremble at your presence on earth. when Archangel Michael presented the Chosen One's file before the Heavenly Council. It wasn't an ordinary report. It was a cosmic historical event, as he replayed every moment you faced adversity. A silence enveloped all the glory as the Creator looked at how the Chosen One held on to their true essence in the dark. And then a resounding affirmation that shook every soul present was handed down, that you are the very reason he decided to create humanity from the very beginning. You must listen to the final seconds of this video, because this is when you will understand the supreme privilege. You hold a privilege that makes even the greatest angels pause in awe. While angels always operate in the direct presence of glory and obey because they clearly see his power, the Chosen One did something exponentially greater. You chose faith when there was absolutely no tangible evidence. And you chose light when surrounded by thick darkness and the lies of the enemy. You maintained your integrity when no reward was promised. And you did the right thing simply because it was the right thing to do, proving that your character is anchored deep within and is completely unshaken by any external pressure or direct attacks from the darkness. This unimaginable steadfastness is the ironclad proof that the Chosen One has been faithful far beyond all expectations and normal developmental timelines that heaven ever set for a soul in the flesh. Because of that unshakable attitude, a new decree has been officially signed to completely alter the reality of the Chosen One from this moment forward, shifting your status from someone undergoing trials to someone receiving the protocol of accelerated execution. Heaven has confirmed that you have proven enough mettle and faithfulness to be entrusted with resources that normally take decades to access. This actualizes the divine truth that those who are faithful in the smallest things amidst trials will be put in charge of far greater things. Just as promised, his master replied, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." The Chosen One must absolutely not take their eyes off these words, because Michael is preparing to announce an earth-shattering truth. All delays in your life are officially wiped out to make way for blessings pouring in at an unprecedented speed. You have crossed the boundary from being an observer to becoming the embodiment of the truth. And that means all your prayers have now been placed on the highest priority processing list of the throne right at this moment. Take a deep breath and prepare your mind, because the final part of this revelation will reveal how all your enemies are now completely neutralized, and why your new title in the heavenly books will force every entity in the spiritual realm to bow and recognize the status of a true warrior of light. Are you truly ready to receive the final verdict of restoration and eternal glory waiting in the next few seconds, right at this moment? Every barrier separating you from your grand destiny has officially been blown apart by an urgent decree from the throne of the Most High. Absolutely. Do not take your eyes off the screen for even a split second, because this is a red alert for the kingdom of darkness and the hour of ultimate restoration for the Chosen One. You must listen to the final seconds, because any distraction right now means single-handedly throwing away the key to opening the door of a once-in-a-millennium destiny, while the enemy is lurking right on this screen, frantically trying to distract you so you miss the moment the accelerated execution protocol is officially activated over your life. This protocol has been signed. All long-standing delays have been completely broken, and the blessings meant for the next 10 years are now being compressed to pour down right into the reality of the Chosen One with an irresistible intensity so fast that the normal laws of time must dissolve before the power of the Creator. But let a sacred silence envelop your soul right now, because when looking at your file, even Archangel Michael had to pause in absolute reverence and lower his battle sword to confirm a miracle that just occurred within your very being. The Chosen One is no longer a soul struggling through trials, no longer someone who has to brace themselves to endure pain in hopeless isolation, because your identity has been permanently changed in the heavenly books to authenticated warrior of light. This is the moment the rhythm of the universe slows down to confirm a truth. Every silent tear and every time you chose grace over hatred has touched the heart of the Most High, causing him to systematically clear away every barrier to make room for the grand mission ahead, in which you are the central figure. In this powerful silence, receive the decree of restoration flowing like a waterfall of grace, piercing through all dimensions of space to actualize the divine promise destined for your life. The days are coming. declares the Lord. When the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes. Amos 9:1-3. This means that the restoration of the chosen one will happen at a divine speed, where the harvest will appear as soon as you start taking action, and all the losses of the past will be overshadowed by the radiant glory of the present. If you have followed along to these final moments, understand that the protection around you right now is absolute, and Michael is standing tall behind you, sword in hand, to ensure that no dark force can stop your advance into eternal victory. To permanently seal this new identity into reality and declare the readiness of a true warrior before the entire spiritual realm. The chosen one only needs to perform a single act of confirming authority. Write the phrase, "I am a warrior of light," in the comments below. This is the declaration to lock in supreme protection and officially open the floodgates of irreversible acceleration starting right from this moment. Destiny has called your name. Glory has enveloped you. And the life of the chosen one will never be the same again. Are you truly ready to shine? Take this final breath slowly. Chosen one. Because what is being sealed over your life right now is not a temporary feeling, not a passing wave of emotion, and not another empty promise spoken into the air. This is the closing of an old battlefield and the opening of a new command over your destiny. The version of you that kept begging for proof, kept waiting for people to understand, kept looking back at the places where you were wounded, cannot walk into this next territory with the same posture. Heaven is not asking you to explain yourself anymore. Heaven is not asking you to defend your purity to people committed to misunderstanding it. Heaven is not asking you to shrink your light so the guilty can feel comfortable in the shadows. From this moment forward, your silence is no longer the silence of survival. It is the silence of authority. Your peace is no longer the peace of someone trying to hold themselves together. It is the peace of someone protected by a higher verdict. Every closed door that once made you question your worth was not rejection. It was divine separation. Every delay that made you cry in private was not abandonment. It was heaven preventing you from entering rooms too small for the weight of your assignment. And every person who walked away thinking they had weakened you will soon realize they only pushed you closer to the throne. So do not leave this message carrying the old fear. Do not return to the same thoughts that told you nothing was changing. Something has already shifted. The chains did not break loudly because heaven does not need noise to prove power. The decree has moved. The protection has surrounded you. The restoration has begun in places your eyes have not reached yet. Now, before you step away, make one final declaration, not as a ritual, not as a performance, but as a mark of agreement with what heaven has already spoken. Write in the comments, "My season has turned." Let that sentence stand as your witness that you are done begging the past to bless you, done asking darkness for permission to rise, done carrying guilt for battles you never started. And if this message has touched the deepest place in your spirit, press like as a sign that you received it. Subscribe so this channel can continue speaking into your season. And send this video to one soul who has been fighting silently and needs to know they are not forgotten. But above all, walk away from this moment differently. Walk like someone heaven has defended. Speak like someone fear no longer owns. Move like someone whose name has been called into a higher chapter. The storm has served its purpose. The trial has delivered its evidence. The enemy has lost access. The seal has been placed. The road ahead is not ordinary anymore. Chosen one, rise in peace, rise in power, and rise, knowing this your season has turned, and nothing sent against you can reverse what God has already released.